Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Hey everybody, it's Tuesday night, time for another live Wicked Horror Show. I'm Kevin, and as always, I'm joined by Tony Has Not Fingers.
What is going on, people?
And we have some very special guests that are... That's okay. That's
It's all good.
We were
have
in
some
our own
special guests
room.
that are joining us. Tony, if you'd like to introduce our special guest.
Sure. Returning to the show, we have Kyle Valle and Erin Áine for... what are they called? Like mini clips, or is there like a specific like word for it for autonomous?
It's a micro horror, and that was actually
Micro-horror.
trademarked by Screamify.
Mm-hmm.
So micro horror. We've also heard them called by a lot of reviewers classified as either a series or a short film. And honestly, I think either one is totally fine. It's something brand new, so that works for me. I kind of prefer to think of it as a series since it's divided into episodes, but either one's correct.
Yeah, and fantastic to be here with both of you
Yeah.
again. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for having us.
Thanks for coming back. So, yeah, I described it as a series because I obviously have some questions about like how it's going to be released and the formatting and everything. But do you want to give a little, just because people that are going to be listening and anyone who's watching they have no idea what we're talking about. So you just want to give a little give a little idea of what we're talking about.
That's a good idea. So
Yeah.
who the hell are we? What the hell did we do? We made a vertical micro horror, the aforementioned micro horror for Screamify, and it is a 28-minute series or short film that centers upon a couple, Amy and Derek, and they exit dinner. It was a terrible dinner. They start having this horrible argument. They're in a driverless rideshare, and because they're distracted in this terrible argument, they don't realize that they're going terribly off course, and things go from bad to worse as the car takes them in an awful direction, and let's just say things go really bad.
Yes.
They take a wrong turn.
Ooh,
Oh.
I like that.
And for those who don't know, Screamify is a streaming app that's similar to apps like Shudder and Tubi and wherever you can go find like cool independent horror, and it's $2.99 a month, but you get a lot of really cool independent stuff on Screamify.
And that's what their kind of mission statement is more independent, not like the mainstream stuff. Because I remember hearing about it in the beginning, and I messaged them, and they're like, "Yeah, listen, we're here for the independent stuff. We don't want that, mainstream everything everybody's seen." So it's refreshing to see that's the route they're going towards, where it's like having a platform for more independent artists, directors, and stuff to find their spot, I guess.
Yeah, and it's
100%.
fantastic. And they were fantastic to work with. With this one specifically, Sean Overbeek, the actual founder of Screamify, brought it to our attention after they picked up ZombieCON to have on the platform. And he had written this and kind of gave it to us. And we're like, would you be interested in doing a vertical kind of microdrama? And we first cut our teeth like circa 2015, 2014, we tried to create a competitor to YouTube called Muno TV. It obviously did not go well. We had I think our entire budget for 9 series was $10,000, and to build out the website and everything else, which, as you can imagine, Google had a little bit more money than we did. So, no harm, no foul. But we had been at that point on the cusp of really experimental filmmaking with series that were very interactive. And I felt it was kind of like a lightning bolt moment where these vertical micro dramas, which I know have been getting a lot of steam in China, especially in Asia, and they're kind of filtering over here to the States. And there are a couple stateside productions that are a little bit more, they're rom-com-y. They're usually a bit like Days of Our Lives, soap opera-ish type stuff. But the format itself felt like this is getting back into where we were with YouTube way back when, before everyone knew what YouTube was. And it was just a new kind of platform, a new type of way of delivering media stories and information to people in a much more consumer friendly way, where it's not going to replace movies, it's not going to replace television shows, but it's going to fill a gap that those things can't necessarily fill. Like, this is the type of thing that if you're on the train riding to work, you're on the bus going to work, you're in the back of a Waymo, you could pull these guys up and you just couple episodes in. Okay, great. I got 6 episodes in. I'll check the next 6 next time I'm in a car or doing something crazy. So it gives you that kind of middle ground. You get your horror fix in between the rest of life and fill those little moments in. So it's exciting to kind of be on the forefront of technology again.
Yeah. Now, is Streamify like trying to like populate a segment of their app with this kind of content in general, or is this something that they're just going to start with the one? Or because I like, as of course I'm thinking of things like TikTok, and you scroll like the doom scrolling, and it's like, like I know with this story, it's broken up into how many segments?
16.
Yeah, 16 segments. So like in my mind, I was like, oh, it'd be like a different experience if like I watched part 1 and then I go somewhere else and there's a different segment from a different story that I'd seen previous, whatever. And like it's almost like a different way to consume, where you're just consuming the little parts. I don't know if my mind could handle it, because I'm a man of a certain age, but but is that what they're going for?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I think this is kind of, part and parcel to what they're trying to do. So the micro horrors, when they commissioned Autonomous, they also built out 2 other micro horrors at the same time. One is called Scary Mary, and the other is called Game Night. And this is their first foray into that kind of environment. I think they are very much part and parcel to regular independent horror in terms of, aspect ratio, length, and all that stuff. And that's like kind of their bread and butter. This is more or less your appetizer. And I think they're very keen to kind of build out that, because they're kind of the first to the game in that regard. So it's kind of like a niche product that they can introduce people to the platform with, get people interested into some new and upcoming directors or creators, and then maybe reposition them into doing some more standardized content while keeping that kind of, I guess, appetizer course going throughout all of it, to give you just a little bit of something different, while still giving you, as you were talking about earlier, Tony, like the independent side of actual films. They give you that as well, and this is kind of like your bonus get.
And what's cool too, because they've been around for like a year, and they already, in addition, like Kyle was saying, to building out their library of feature films, independent films, they have the micro horrors that they just launched with. They have an original podcast on there, the Fear Feed, and interviewing creators, and especially with a lot of the people's films they have on the platform. And then they also have a documentary series called Behind the Screens.
Oh yeah.
And we don't talk about this enough. They actually have a documentary series where they had people
followed us with like a whole documentary crew while we filmed part of Autonomous, which was wild as like the director, because I'm getting mic'd up, my like sound guy's getting mic'd up, my AC's getting mic'd up, like everyone behind the camera is getting
going
mic'd
on
up,
as an actor,
and then we have like all the lavs on the actors. So it was like the human centipede of filmmaking, where you had like this continuous loop of technology, like in front of the camera, behind the camera. And of course, we're filming autonomous vehicles, which is like, I mean, trying to manage autonomous vehicles, I'll tell you, the most difficult actors I've ever had to work with. They certainly have a mind of their own.
So
So there
Screamify is
wasn't
really branching out and doing like a whole bunch of cool stuff already. Yeah.
so it wasn't too far fetched in the story where it's like, hey, what's going on here? It's like, no, just let the car do whatever. You know, they always say don't work with kids or animals in movies. Now don't mess with some autonomous cars or might
Yeah, yeah,
Do not
exactly.
follow directions well and are not very predictable. Yes, absolutely.
Oh
100%.
yeah, we call this thing to a place, and I'm like, okay, this is the mark. I've got all the lighting set up. We've got the actors in place. We've drawn out schematics ahead of time, gotten permits for the road, all this stuff. And you call an Uber, you call a Lyft, and you mark a geographic location. They arrive within like 5 to 10 feet of that point. They're like kind of there. This thing like comes down the street, parks where it's supposed to, inches forward 5 feet, reverses 2 feet, makes a left turn, turns in a circle, drives backwards, drives forwards, and around this car you've got the entire cast and crew trying to get to the right side of the vehicle so that our actors can get in the right positions and the camera can be in the right positions. So it was like a Monty Python sketch watching all of us like chase this thing like, all right, no, it's going to the other side of the road, everyone carefully, but get to the other side of the road.
It was like dealing with a wild animal. Like it was comical.
Yeah, I can't say I ever tried one of those, but it sounds like they might have a little, few bugs to fix at this point in time.
Yeah. Well,
I've never actually seen one in real life. Like I've
they're only available currently, and this is all from the research I had to do in pre-production. They're available in a couple cities in the U.S. San Francisco, Los Angeles, Houston, Atlanta.
Miami.
I think Miami. They're
think
starting. They're
Nashville.
starting in Orlando. There might be a few in Nashville. In some of these cities, they have an actual Waymo app, so you can get on the app. You call a Waymo shows up. Fairly simple. In Atlanta, there is no Waymo app, so you have an Uber app. Now you can request an eco-friendly car, which will better your chances of getting a Waymo, but there are no guarantees. So we burnt like 2 nights of production with like a literal round table of all of the actors and crew with everyone's cell phone out, calling simultaneously the eco-friendly cars from Uber to try to get a Waymo to show up. And we had a winter storm that exact time, which was just terrible. It's like so often how these things work. It's like, the bad things multiply on top of each other. And we're fairly certain this caused them to pull a lot of the Waymos from the area, because we sat there for 2 nights calling, I don't know how many hours, until we finally decided to just get other pieces of footage. But it was very much like a Jaws situation where the shark's not working, well, the car's not showing up. And you keep getting the same Uber drivers, and you have to unfortunately cancel the rides. Otherwise, we would have tallied up like a $10,000 bill with Uber for rides to nowhere to film something we didn't have. And so you keep getting this guy. It's like, I don't know, random name, Bob. Stop! Like, don't you get it? I don't want your ride. Stop accepting my ride. But we did, in pickup shots. We came back. Erin's father and me actually went out driving because I needed someone to operate a vehicle while I was kind of, hunting. And I had my Captain Ahab moment where I'm like, looking out the car windows. Like, I see one of these white Waymos pass. I'm like, that's our Waymo. Follow that thing. And we're following it through the streets of Atlanta and seeing where it lands and like where it lets the people out from, where it picks the people up from, and marking all of these things on a big map. And I'm just like, I'm thankful that no passenger in those cars was like looking out their back window, be like, "Is that car following?" So, like, why are they parked next to the
Because we
Waymo?
definitely were. Watch the volume just because Anya might wake up.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Our daughter's downstairs, and it could be touch and go at any moment. She could wake up.
I'm told I have a bassy voice.
Yes. Yes.
That's okay. Well, it's okay for us, not for you.
Yeah, you guys are fine.
Yeah.
You were talking, like, I noticed those micro whatever, like you see them, and some of them you watch part of it, it's just like this thing has to be done by like AI or something, because you hear some of the conversations between it, and it's just like, who talks like this, or like, where did they come up with this? But this, like, your little short, it's like, like a short film, but just like snippets and stuff. So it felt refreshing because I'm like, oh, this is something I can actually watch. Like I watch bits and pieces of one, and I'm like, this just turns me so like the way they talk or the way they act or whatever. I'm like who wrote this stuff? Because it's so like yeah, like I said, it seems like AI wrote it because it's like whoever talks like this. But yours was refreshing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the script actually for this was written by the founder of Screamify, Sean Overbeek. So all writing credit and the concept and everything, this was all his baby, and he brought us on board to produce it, which is awesome. But yeah, it's hard. We did our research. We got very into the micro drama, the verticals, all the random websites like out of China, and they have the most crazy premises that obviously are outlandish and hook you immediately. You know,
there were a few. I'll be honest. There was like one that had to do with like a billionaire. Like I don't know if he was a vampire or he lived forever or he's like some kung fu master type
probably
thing.
all the above.
It probably was. And he like was the wife to a powerful woman, but the woman hated him because he was just like a janitor now. And then he gets like divorced from her because then he goes to find this other lady, but then she wants him back. And I would be honest, like I was like watching 20 episodes and I was like, I gotta know what happens to this guy. Who does he end up with? When does he show us the kung fu powers? What happens next? So some of them like really got their fangs deep in me, and I was like way too interested in what happened to this random dude in this random thing.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like on those apps, you would think it's like, oh, okay, here's a couple of them. They're like hundreds of them. I'm like, how do they get pumped out so many? And then it's like one's almost like the other, except it's a little bit different or this hat. And I'm just like, oh, okay, well, like, how do I know which one I was watching and which one? It's like, forget it. I'm just gonna stop and let it let it simmer over there.
It's like that meme where it's like copy that kid's homework, but just make it look slightly different.
Exactly, because it's just like, which one am I watching? Is this the one I was looking at? And then it's like, oh no, that person wasn't in there, and it's just like, okay, well now I know there's like 500,000 of these things.
Right.
When you were writing it, did you, or not writing because you didn't write it, but when you were like figuring out the filming process, like how you were gonna like shoot everything, did you already decide at that point like how long the segments were gonna be? Like so, because you did a really good job with like ending each segment and picking up the next segment. Like it flowed naturally. Like it wasn't like abrupt or anything like that. But was that all? I mean, I'm assuming it was obviously figured out, but did you have like how much time did it take to figure that out?
Well,
I can imagine not being like
I was going to say
to figure that out.
Luckily for us, Sean is a fantastic writer, and he wrote it broken out into chunks. So we had a definitive ending and beginning to each episode. The more difficult thing for us in terms of just production-wise was figuring out what visual you wanted to end and start with to make that kind of transition both more or less seamless, but also quasi-impactful, right? To get an ending that, wasn't just a generic shot, but it had some meaning behind it and give it a little bit more punch. But that was really benefited by our fantastic actors on set that did such a great job. And we got so much coverage all around that car. I acted like a Cirque du Soleil performer, like jamming myself in my body as best I could. It's like, I'm not a small guy. I'm 6'2". I'm like 250 pounds. Like, the camera's 27 pounds. Fitting me into that car just to begin with, because the Jaguar F-Type, which is what they use for these Waymos, it's not a big car. It looks like it should be a big car. I took the measurements of it to see if it could fit in our soundstage. It is a kind of a big vehicle, but weirdly, it is the smallest big vehicle I have ever been in. It felt more like a sports car, like a Porsche or something. I've never been in a Porsche, but I can imagine they're quite small. That's what it felt like being inside this thing.
We all kept saying this is the least luxury vehicle that there has to be out there. No offense, Jaguar, but I'm 5'2" and I was crammed in that back seat, which makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, and if she's having trouble, you can imagine how much trouble me plus the camera was having. I think the easiest job on set, and he did a fantastic job, was our sound guy's job. Because I was like, there's no way to really boom this. So put a boom through the sunroof and lob the entire car up. So the actors were lobbed, the car was lobbed. We had lobs like sticking out of every corner that you could imagine. And once his job was done, he just sat there and he's like, well, Kyle, this is a gentleman who worked on ZombieCON actually as well. He was our sound guy there. He's a really good friend of mine from back in the college days. And I'm like, well, Chad, we need a car shaker. Do you mind shaking the car a little bit for poor man's process? So he then moved to, giving us a nice little kinetic energy with our moving vehicle. So it was a fun experience. It was wild to be in a car for that long and try to make it visually stimulating. But
you killed
it's
it.
just a new challenge, and every new challenge in filmmaking is just basically new tools to learn and add to the toolbox. So it was exciting.
I have to add to this as well. At one point, Kyle grabbed a branch from the front yard, like several, and was just, as he's filming with the camera, whipping sporadically the sides of the windows, because in this bit our characters are going through a more wooded section, off the beaten path, and so he's adding some brush like the car is hitting it, and slowly but surely our 3 or so other crew members each at one point were holding the branches and doing the same motion as well. Everyone had the dance and rhythm going on. It was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
So it actually looked, like it was actually, in the middle of nowhere. So it was like smoke and mirrors. It wasn't that far off the beaten path, I guess.
Well, actually, it was
a little bit of both.
A mixture of everything, right? We actually shot in a real Waymo. We did a bit of poor man's process in a garage with the exact same type of car, which again added to the difficulty of the Waymo because we had to match the upholstery. So we could only get a Waymo that had a tan interior. They don't all have tan interiors. And then we also we rented a road. We didn't rent a road. We closed down a road in Coweta County, Georgia, which is known as the Walking Dead Road. And they shot, basically anytime you're watching The Walking Dead, you see a road with 2 of the yellow lines down the center, woods on either side. There could be 50 cars in the middle. There could be no cars in the middle. Could be the actors walking or being chased by zombies. This is the road they used. And it was the only road geographically close to where we were in Atlanta that I could find, that you could get a road like that with those 2 specific lines, which we toyed with the idea of painting them on a private driveway. And I was like, that is going to look very strange. So it's like, we need a real road. But it was the only road that I could find that didn't have any light spill coming through the forest elements from houses or businesses anywhere close by, because it's this very strange piece of highway that connects 2 other small highways. That's very easy to close down because there are no houses, of course, off of it, so you're not impeding any kind of traffic. But that was a very rigorous night shoot, driving 2 hours out, getting a base camp set up, of course, having to light the area because there is no spillover light. So all of the light out there was light we brought out. Having to set the car, get the character actor in his costume, organize this whole thing, do it all in I think we had 7 or 8 hours, pack everything up, and then drive home at 3 a.m.
It's a long night,
Sounds like a
long
long
night.
Yeah, it was one of the more difficult ones, but it was cool to hire cops to close down the road and get to talk to them. And everyone was driving in and had a different experience. But when I drove in, I was like, I'm the director, and they knew the director was the one paying for, them to be there. God, if every cop treated me like this, it'd be like the world would be a total utopia. They lifted the barricades for me. They're like, oh, come on, sir. What are you filming tonight? What's happening tonight? I'm like, oh, God, this is so good. This should happen everywhere. They're fantastic. And I love cops generally, but this was I felt like I was the president of the United States getting the royal treatment from the secret security or something. It was crazy.
Now, how did, was this, because you said you had to, get a Waymo. Was this for those shots? So you were calling an Uber for that at that time? I was like,
no.
I'm sitting there being like, is this cop's going to have to keep letting these Uber drivers out?
No. I mean, we would have if it was basically, so the way Waymo works in Atlanta, they only operate between downtown Atlanta and Buckhead. which is like a very small geographical place.
Oh, shoot.
And this place was about 2 hours outside.
Shoot.
So,
Apologize. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go take care of Anya.
so this is an onset disaster. The baby has just woken up, and Erin is going to manage that situation. So you're stuck with me. I'd say the more beautiful side of the couple. Some call me the beast and the beauty, but for whatever it is. But so for this area, it was about 2 hours outside of Atlanta. There was no way to get them there. Just realistically, like I honestly did call Google when we first started this project to see if we could negotiate something within the budget to say, hey, we'd like to use one of these things. And then I got forwarded to their press agent, and then Better Sense kind of kicked in. And I'm like, well, the next thing they're going to ask for is the script. And I don't know how well me asking to shoot in one of their autonomous vehicles, which kind of, spoiler alert, doesn't go well for our main characters, is going to float with their kind of, PR department. So we decided, to use the same car that we were using for the poor man process shots, drive it out there, and film creatively around it, and where needed add a little bit of VFX here and there to add the pieces to the car to make it look like an actual Waymo.
Okay, all right. So I was assuming that without giving too much away, because it's not out yet for people to see.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, it's currently out on Screamify, so you can go there and check it out. I think even I don't want to say that the first couple episodes are like free, but I know for a fact they're floating around on Instagram. So even if you want to just check it out, I would definitely go to the Screamify page on Instagram and cycle through their content, because I know they've posted at least like the first 2 or 3 episodes.
Okay, and that was one of the things I was thinking too. Are they going to release it all at once, or is it going to be like one a day, or is it like how are they going to be releasing it?
So they released it all at once, so you
Okay.
can just kind of binge it. I think it's kind of going with the Netflix kind of format,
Okay.
where the whole thing gets posted, and you can just cycle all the way through.
You mentioned VFX. There's a scene where someone may be on top of the Waymo, and
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Was that VFX, or was
Yeah,
that real? Okay.
that was a mixture of a couple different elements, but that what we couldn't, because so on the top of the Jaguar F-Type, it's a total glass roof, so it's not like a regular sunroof. It's like almost the entire roof is glass. And our actor was 6'8", had was equally proportioned. He's like extremely broad shouldered. I don't know exactly what his weight is, but I was looking at him and looking at the glass roof, and I'm like, if we had a huge budget, like we could have bought the car, I would have had him punch through that glass. I could have been like this. But because we were renting the car and we had to kind of deliver it back without any real damage, I'm like, yeah, we're going to do this in post. We're going to have you kind of do your own thing. Now, we did get a smaller actor at one point for some of the vertical shots where we're shooting up through the car at the actor. We did get a smaller actor in that costume who wasn't supposed to get on top of the car. So he's supposed to just be on the side, and I'm like, just turn your hands to. And next thing you know, I'm looking through the camera, and I'm like, Chad, are you on top of the car? Are you on top of the car right now? He's like, yeah, Kyle. Am I not supposed to be on top of the car? I'm like, well, yeah. Well, now that you're up there, stay up there for a little bit. We get some of this stuff, but then get off quickly and carefully.
Well, the beauty of filming.
Yes.
With this is, I don't know if it's an ultimate goal, but if the shorts, just like any, I guess, normal short film, if they do well, is there a possibility of a like feature film coming from it kind of deal, or is it just going to be these micro budgets and just make as many as you can from there?
So I think with this particular project, because I was talking to Sean when I first read the script, and obviously, leaves it open ended at the end. I was like, well, where, what kind of happens next? Because I'm interested. Like, I got ZombieCon Volume 1 through 9. So I'm always interested in kind of the extension of the universe. And he said it was definitely open to be expanded upon in terms of seasons and kind of
Okay.
have the different riders, if you will, kind of be a part and parcel to this process. I don't think he would be opposed to extending this into a feature film, but we've also had conversations with them about different feature films that they're looking to explore. So I'm not 100% sure what direction they're going to go in. But I know whatever they do, it's going to be exciting. So I would definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because, like you said, it does leave it open ended. Where it's just like, oh, okay, I could see, this guy. I don't want to spoil anything, but one of those things where it's just like, oh, if he's in, well, I don't want to say cahoots with the car because that would make no sense, but if
His
he's
name is Frank Moreno.
controlling it and he's like, oh, well, here, just come here to the same spot all the time, and anybody
Yeah.
that's listening, you got to check it out to understand what I'm talking about. But yeah, it left it open where it's like, oh, I could see this. Well, like you said, another series kind of deal. But I guess we'll have to sit and watch.
Mm.
We'll wait and see. Yeah.
And
Well, you guys will be some of the first to know whatever happens next. So
nice.
Well, I
And
appreciate
is
it.
there any thoughts of doing? Because I know you didn't write this one. Is there any thoughts of doing your own like series? Like if this is
for
something that they're gonna do regularly on Screamify, like um, you know, just to throw some of your own stuff out there, you know.
So I think that in regards to vertical like micro dramas, there are definitely some ideas that we have. Uh, we have about 3 films that we're waiting to see which kind of financial pipeline comes through first. And that will put us into production for like the next year. So we won't really be able to do anything if, whenever one of those comes through. We have our feature film that we shot about a year ago called It's Watching. That it was literally postponed from being finished in order to do this series because it's on the tail end of post production. And then we have a weirdly unrelated kid show that we're doing for our daughter that we're going to put out there. It's like a wildlife informational show. Could not be more different from everything else we've done with like Pixar-ish characters. Uh, but in terms of like straight up vertical micro dramas, I do think that we're on the forefront of a new kind of wave of that, and having more or less, I could say this now with impunity because Erin's not here, but having more or less scuttled our opportunities with our kind of own YouTube foray in the beginning, and then seeing how big that would have gotten had we just kept applying that same idea on YouTube and where we could have possibly gone with that. I definitely don't want to miss an opportunity to be involved at the forefront of any new kind of visual renaissance and kind of breaking the mold. So we've written a couple stories that would fit very well. Whether they go specifically to Screamify or it's something that we do independently or they go somewhere else is yet to be seen. But it's definitely something we'd be interested in.
Cool. I mean, I really like the idea, and I'm surprised that some of the other streaming services haven't tried it. So I'm glad Screamify is doing it. Like, because they're it's a low cost option. They have really great content, so it's really cool to see that they're taking that jump. You know, it's really cool to see, and because most people the attention span is the doom scrolling. You're constantly just looking for little quick fixes. Especially at night, you're
Mm-hmm.
in bed. Like I don't do TikTok anymore because it's too addictive. Um,
I
like
understand. Yeah.
Instagram, like it's like I still try to avoid that like the plague as well because it's just like I'll be like, where did the last 2 hours go? Like I don't understand. Like
I know.
I
I
should have
know.
been
And
in bed.
it's,
Like I have to work in the morning. Like I do an important job. Like like this is crazy, you know. But I don't know. It's smart. It's smart, and I think especially with a company like Screamify, and maybe it's an option for people to farm their ideas out to Screamify and be like, hey, I'm an independent filmmaker, this is my idea for a micro short. I'll do it myself and I'll, see what happens. Who knows? There's a lot of filmmakers out there that I'm sure would want to give it a shot.
Yeah, and Screamify is their whole platform and their ideology is all about supporting indie filmmakers. So I think that's 100% the direction they're headed. I obviously can't speak for the company, but
Mhm.
from the conversations I've had with them, that seems very much part and parcel to the path that they're looking to take, which I find exciting. Coming from my background and doing indie film and experimental film and stuff, and like you were saying, it's a low cost option that allows you to introduce new concepts, new characters, new monsters, and basically it's like a test short. But it's not like a short film where you're a little more limited because it has to be a little more. You get a little more leeway, just ever so slightly, because you can then track. I presume they're tracking analytics, retention rates, and all that stuff. And over the course of a multi-tier series, I just think you could do better as an independent creator looking at that stuff and saying, "Oh, is my idea working? Okay, great." And then you could take that concept, as you were talking about earlier, and you could adapt that to a feature film and something more long term. So I think it's going to be an awesome thing for the future, and I think it's going to benefit all of us. Just like you were saying, reduce a little bit of the doom scrolling, give us a little more high quality content, and give us something to watch in the in between moments. Which, you know, I mean, I'm a huge cinephile, but I don't want to watch a movie that I'm excited about on my phone in broad daylight when I'm kind of just going somewhere. I want to have that as like my religious experience. I want to have it on my setup with my sound system. I want to turn the lights off. I want to commit to watch the full thing front to back without distractions, and be in my environment because I want to experience it just like if I was at a movie theater. So this is kind of meeting in the middle ground there. So
Yeah.
I never really looked at it as analytics either, because it brings up a good point. If one specific clip gets more views than the other one because, okay, maybe this clip has a certain aspect to it or whatever, then you can look at it and be like, okay, this worked here. This one doesn't seem like it reached people, so the next one I write, let's try to incorporate this into it, as opposed to, you get a short film and, unless people are commenting, which we know nowadays most people aren't the most eloquent of people to be like, oh, I like this part of this. It's either I don't like it, I hated it, this is great. It's like, okay, please tell me. So at that point in time, at least you get that, okay, well, this video, this part is getting 1 million views, this other one is getting 500,000, whatever. It's just like, okay, well, let's see what's in this part and then see what we can, incorporate into the next one, kind of deal.
yeah, exactly. So it'd be an exciting future, and I'm also looking forward to VR films, which I don't think will become a thing until we get like some sort of VR device that doesn't weigh like 15 pounds and doesn't cost like as much as a car. But once they can consumerize that like a cell phone, and we can all get one for a reasonable price, I think that the horror kind of prospects in having like a sound show up right behind your head and you actually have to turn your head around and then like the creature's right there, like you could really scare the shit out of people,
Oh,
like
totally.
like in an awesome way.
I've
Well,
had very very limited interaction with VR things, but it can creep you out extremely quickly, um, and it's because you're just in it, and it was like low quality VR, and it still was just like, okay, I need to take a break from this because like this is a little too, my heart's racing too much. Like, you've seen the videos of like the people like standing on a board and they think that they're like gonna fall off of like a girder or something. It's like it really is immersive. And but yeah, something like that's a jump scare movies in VR will be the death of somebody. I'm telling
yeah,
you.
but I mean, at this point in time, like with jump scare movies, you're kind of waiting for it to happen. This is like a jump scare times 10, because then it's just like, immersive. Like watching it like straightforward, it's like okay, I kind of know what's coming. Okay, it's gonna get me here, but this is like okay, you're in it where it's like okay, what part is it? Because nowadays you know, okay, if someone's staring in the mirror and you open it, sooner or later they're gonna shut it, and the person, those movies that do it the opposite way, where it's like okay, it's not there, but then they turn around kind of deal. So this VR, I haven't done it, so maybe I have to start because it's like I'm so you know numb to some of the horror nowadays, where it's like okay, I've seen
Yeah.
it once, I've seen it 10 times. VR is be like oh okay, and now almost like Skinamarink in real life, where it's
Mm.
just like is something there? Is something like really like what's going on? And then that I'm sure it'll you know change the game big
Yeah,
time.
it will.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And get the guy or gal or whoever did the sound design for Undertone on that
Mm.
VR project. That would be sick.
Hmm. Maybe the like with the AR glasses that are coming out, like there's more augmented reality like
Yeah.
glasses that are coming out that are like over in I watch travel videos all the time and they go to like the tech centers in like China and stuff and they're just like you can get them for like $90, and it's just like
I have not seen. That's crazy.
yeah, and it's just
I
like
had no.
if it gets to that point where it's like that cheap or more reasonable in America, and they're actually quality, imagine filming something for an AR glasses like for that format, whatever format that is, where I don't know, I don't know. There's a lot of options that are probably on the horizon. That
Well, if you're talking about AR, like augmented reality, you could probably create an app and have someone program in, like, okay, what's your phobia? What's your biggest
oh
fear?
my god,
And you just type it in, and then it like uses, probably a combination of AI and some sort of other, neural network to you have like tracking points that you set up, and then it all of a sudden skins those with whatever your phobia was. And
yeah,
so, like,
yeah,
if you're afraid of like meatballs, all of a sudden meatballs start flying at you from all over the room or something
just freaking
crazy.
out, like walking down the street, freaking out because meatballs are chasing you. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be insane. Like just for me, it'd be spiders everywhere. I'd be like, all right, just
Mm.
someone light me on fire, please, and get this over with. Um, Sergio was asking if he missed the trailer. There's no trailer. It's how long is it in total? It's 20.
About 20, 24, 26 minutes, right in that ballpark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's he joined us a little late, so it's a micro short that you can watch on Screamify, which is in 16 parts. It's a new format that they're trying over on Screamify, and it's a streaming service that's $2.99 a month. It's kind of like it's like I would compare it to like something like Shutter, but
Hmm.
it's a newer
Yeah.
streaming service, so it doesn't have as much as something like Shutter, but got a lot of really good independent horror, um, and it's definitely worth supporting. I have it on the Chromecast in the living room. I've never used the app before, so I didn't even realize that. Like I watched this on the app, and I was like, oh, I didn't even have like I never watched it on my phone before. I always watched it on the Chromecast in the living room. So I didn't even
Nice.
realize. Like I was like that didn't make sense to me. I was like, I don't know. I'm showing my age. Things starting to confuse me.
Now they're doing. I got an email saying that they're doing something like a live viewing type deal of the three different micro budget movies. I don't know. It said something about Tennessee. I don't know if you know about it, if they mentioned it, because I got an email. They're like, oh, if you're in Tennessee, I believe it's this Saturday,
Hmm.
July 11th, that I guess they're going to almost like a mini film festival type deal.
Yeah. So we'll actually be there. We're
Okay.
flying in. It's going to be a little kind of premiere party, showcase for these three micro horrors. And yeah, I'm pretty excited. Nashville, I've only been there like once before in my life. My wife went to Vanderbilt, so she's, been there a ton. But yeah, I think it's a fun city, so I'm looking forward to checking it out and getting to meet the Screamify folks in person, and I get to meet all the other creators for the other two series, so it should be a blast. And I also bent my crew's arm and I was like, "Hey guys, premiere event, show up
Mm.
to Nashville, and trust me, if you want to have fun and have a drink with someone, these are the guys you want to do it with." So after the event's done, I'm sure we'll have some fun.
Nice.
Now with Sean wrote the stuff. Do they have their own like crew that helped you out, or was it here's a script, you do it your way, you have your own crew, and give us whatever, or is it like okay, I got my guys working with your guys, or how did that work?
So they were fantastic. They gave us the script, they gave us the budget, and they said, "God bless, go do it." And I was like, "You not want me to check in? Like, like, hey, you're the artist here. We trust you. Go. If you have questions, let us know. But basically, we'll see it when it's done." And they gave us carte blanche to do whatever we wanted with the project and kind of see the vision through, which was an awesomely freeing experience. They did have another crew kind of follow us around for a little bit, like we were talking about
Mm.
previously, for the behind the scenes documentary. But in regards to the actual filming of the project, they kind of let us just do whatever we wanted to do, which, like, again, I can't express how awesome that is. Like, you rarely get paid to do something and people not have an opinion about how you're
Mm.
doing it. Like, that is like not usually how it works. So they were really like living and dying by their motto of like supporting indie filmmakers to a ridiculous degree. And it was very much appreciated, and like not having to write like, okay, this is how we're using this amount of money for this thing. It was like, no, just figure out all the problems, solve it, film it, make it great. It's like, I can do that. I hope.
Yeah,
I hope it was great.
because there's always horror stories where it's like here's your film, we're gonna give you a lot of money, but this is how we want it. We're giving you this money, we want this person in it, we want this scene in it, we want this is, and it's just like, oh, my vision is now completely different. So hearing this is kind of like you know something, I don't want to say unheard of. I'm sure at some point in time it happened, but it's like
Yeah.
you don't often hear anything like that.
No, yeah, it was very much the antithesis of like an Alien 3, right?
Mhm.
Like the opposite of whatever happened in that making of that movie.
Yeah. So it's like you said, they're sticking to their guns, sticking to their word, because that was the pitch. I tried to get them on to the podcast just to promote it, and they're like, we got our own. It wasn't like a brush off or whatever, but they're like, listen, in the nicest way possible. We're not, your everyday, streaming services, kind of like f the mainstream stuff because we're going. So it's good to hear people say and do what they say.
Yeah, it's exceedingly rare in the world we live in. Within this community and like indie film, the horror review community, I think that we kind of put our money, quote unquote, where our mouth is and actually do what we say we're going to do.
Mm.
But in the outside world and everything that's happening, I think everyone talks a big game, and it's all for the clicks or the likes and stuff, and it so rarely is kind of people doing, you know, more more or less what we're talking about. I don't know. I don't want to put anyone down, but I just,
Yeah.
it's nice to have like some real stuff back in the world and feel like, the 90s aren't totally lost. There's
Yeah.
some bit of that still alive.
Uh, I'm trying to think. Trying to think of my next question. You kind of answered that as we went, but the other shorts, do you know anything about those? Like each one is a little bit different. Does it have its own creature in the other ones, or?
So yeah, they're all wildly different. Game night is basically More or less a riff on kind of like the newer Jumanji movies, right? So it's like
Mm.
people transported into a world where they have multiple lives and they're being chased by, a Michael Myers-esque killer, and they have to, come up with a way to basically kill him before he kills them all the way through their lives. And it's kind of like a fun horror action adventure type thing. Scary Mary goes in a completely different direction, and it's basically it's like two streamers who are trying to get famous on a live stream and summon a demon in order to boost their views more or less, and they don't know it's going to work. And then obviously, I don't want to give spoilers away, so I'm
Mm.
trying to be careful, but it goes well, but then not so well. So
Mm.
if you can imagine how that kind of works with itself. But yeah.
And they're all three of them are available right now on Screamify.
Yeah, they're all three up right now. And Scary Mary just uploaded like a couple days ago, I believe. So it just came out.
Cool.
Now,
I'll have
how
to
different
watch on my lunch break or something tomorrow.
Yeah.
how different filming, well, like you said, he had it kind of broken down into, sections. Now, did you film it like you normally would, and then in the editing process it's like, okay, this is episode 1, it's broken down this way? Or was it like a different way where it's like, okay, we're, instead of doing a page a day, we're gonna do, a clip it a day or whatever it is? Like, was there any difference in filming, or was it kind of what you're normally used to?
So it was different actually. It was way different. We didn't segment it out. I thought about that initially, but because the conversation, between our couple, it's not stilted, right? There's no break in this conversation from episode to episode. It felt unnatural to be cutting at the end of every episode. So I kind of let them play through it more or less like a stage play, putting specific cuts in what we were filming whenever we had specific action moments that needed to happen. So whether we were introducing the monster, stopping at a red light, whatever was happening that was stilting that conversation, we would put in natural breaks to give the actors a little bit of rest and also give the crew time to reset what we were doing and make sure that the edits would seam together between the three different types of locations that we were using. But where, like in ZombieCon, you've got multiple locations, much smaller scenes, you'd be shooting, one scene a day. Okay, we're in the apartment, it's this conversation, boom and done. Multiple angles. Here, we're at 16 episodes, but 13 of these episodes are the conversation that we're having in the car. So we shot straight through all 13 episodes from every angle that we could. Put it together, obviously, in the edit, but really was more like a stage play in that regard for the actors, because they're working through this material from, 14, 16 pages of material at a time, which usually you're working maybe 5 pages, maybe 6 pages, 7 pages. On a higher budget film that gives you more latitude, you might be working 2 pages a day, depending on, I mean, is Christopher Nolan directing with an IMAX camera that sounds as loud as like a Volkswagen Beetle and is the same size? Or is it, a lower budget project where you don't have the location for an infinite amount of time and you've got to be like, okay, it might be more comfortable to get through 2 pages today, but we're going to be doing 6. So everyone strap in.
Yeah, I was just wondering how, like, because even like a short film, if it was done differently. Now, I guess because it is kind of breaking the mold when you think of short films, it's like a 15-minute to, I forget, especially if you're trying to get it into like a film festival. I remember there's certain criteria you have to hit. Because this is kind of breaking the mold, do you guys have like a certain time limit that you guys have it? It's like, okay, we want to make like you said, 24 to 26 minutes or something. Like, is every single one like that? Or is it just like, okay, we can make an hour long, almost like feature length film with like 50 parts as opposed to 16 parts? Or like, is there any talk in that regard?
So, I mean, that really just comes down to the length of the script and
Mm.
what was written and what we're kind of working off of. You could always go longer, you could always go shorter. I don't think this is such a new kind of format. There are no hard and set rules. There's not like a 90 to 120 minute, regular time scope like you do with regular films. So conceivably, right, you could probably do a 6-part series with like minute long episodes. And then you could probably go as long as like, okay, I want to do 100 episodes at 2 minutes a clip. And it really just depends on the script and the budget,
Yeah.
because there is no kind of set rule. It's up to people doing it right now to continually do something that works, and whatever works in the next year or whatever will become the standard format for these things. But as of right now, it's kind of like loosen up in the air. I think all of Screamify's projects fall within that 20 to 30 minute kind of range, and I think that's a good time span for something like this. It's not so long where it's like if you saw it was 100 episodes, even though they're short episodes, you might be like, oh, it's a little bit hard to digest that much material, even in that form factor. But within that time scale, it's not 20 or 30 minutes total. That's enough that if you like it, you're going to be satisfied, but not so long that if, you're intimidated by getting into it. So
Yeah.
that's my opinion. I don't know
I
where
agree
it
with you.
goes from
I
here.
agree with you.
But
I think the time, the time that this one was, I thought was good. Um, it was shorter than like some short films, but it was still like long enough to keep your interest, everything. The only thing that I was really just in my head being like, how is this gonna work? Like, is it gonna interweave with other micro shorts just like this? Like that with it being pieced out like that. That's the only thing that I was thinking about as I was watching it. It was like if I scroll like when it's up on the regular, I didn't realize it was like live at the time, but like I was thinking like if I was on the regular app, if I was to scroll, would it go to like another micro short? Um,
I say,
you
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like just
yeah,
like
yeah,
with
yeah.
TikTok, how like if you're subscribed to a couple different or a bunch of different people, it's gonna go to like everything that's like in your whatever, like
Friends
Your
list
mini feed,
or
whatever it
whatever.
is, yeah.
your feed, yeah.
Yeah, so the way that these work, they're all like self-contained libraries, right? So
Okay.
when you're scrolling between them, you're just going to the next episode. And then, you'd have to click out of that kind of title library to get to the next title. And then that would be the same self-contained, mini series. Uh, but yeah, I don't think that it was ever the intention to be like, oh, we're in the car with Amy and Derek, and then we're,
Yeah. And then
jumping over to
we're
right
watching these
wherever else.
gamers or these streamers like try to summons, yeah.
Yeah,
So okay,
exactly.
so that's good. That's good because I was just like that can get confusing. like,
Oh yeah,
but again, I was thinking, well, the attention span of younger people like that may be perfect for them. Like
yeah.
it could be. I don't know, but it's also new, so who knows? But I don't know. I really dug it. I really like the concept. I'm excited to see more stuff like it. And good job. And also, don't forget to check out ZombieCon.
Yes.
Actually, I have the DVD sitting right here. Um, so don't forget to check that out as well, which is also on Screamify. Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, where can people go to check out what you guys have coming up and any news on any new projects or anything?
And this is where I'm going to fail miserably because my wife is the one who does this, and I'm like a complete dinosaur when it comes to this. But I'll just say simply at ZombieCon movie on basically all social platforms, and we post and repost all of the stuff we're doing there. I think
Okay,
there's an at Big Squid Films as well. But she's gonna kill me when she sees this. She's gonna, but
that's
gonna
okay.
have to have her write giant cue cards for me and like keep at ZombieCon movie, reading in the corner of the room or something.
And also, people should go to Screamify, check out what's going on over there. Like I said, $2.99 a month. It's totally worth it. Support independent horror and independent horror filmmakers like yourself. And yeah, check that stuff out. Tony,
100% agree, and thank you for saving my bacon on that. I should have led with that. So
that's okay. Tony, where can people follow you?
You can find me at Tony Has Nine Fingers on YouTube, where I haven't made a video in forever, but I got enough backlog to, keep your interest, I guess. Where I show off my movies, do reviews, the whole 9 yards. Find me there. Tony Has Nine Fingers on X, which I have, but I don't use. Tony Has Nine Fingers on TikTok, which is my fastest growing social media. So you'll find me there the most. I do reviews. I show off movies with the whole 9 yards on there. Tony's Movies on Instagram, where I show off the movies behind me. And of course, actually, I have to add it because I did make a TikTok for the Wicked Horror Show. So check out, the lovely little, stuff that Kevin makes, the little thumbnails and stuff. I've been posting it on there. So check out, previous episodes, who we had on, who we're going to have on the future and stuff. So check us out there. I'm trying to figure out how to get little clippets from, I don't know if there's an app or not, but get clippets from, each episode and then post that on there, how all these, other podcasts do it. I'm trying to figure that out. Not the most tech savvy. But anyway, so check out the Wicked Horror Show on TikTok. And check us out on Facebook and YouTube not every Tuesday, most Tuesdays, whether we have awesome guests or it's just horror movie talk. Find us there. Come join us live, ask questions when we do have trailers. You can watch it instead of just kind of picturing it in your mind when you're listening to it. But also, thank you to everyone who listens to us. Any way you take our podcast in, we appreciate you fully. You guys are, keeping indie film alive just as much as we are. So we appreciate it for sure. Kevin?
Just a knuckle on Instagram. And like Tony said, Tuesday nights live, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook and on YouTube. And then on Thursdays, the audio podcast goes up. And thanks again for joining us. Tell your lovely wife that we said goodbye and thank her and say great job in the short or the micro short. I have to get used to these new terms. And thanks, Serge was in the chat. Thanks for joining us again, Serge. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.